Now it's thought that 1/4 of the world's population are now using some form of social media. Oftentimes, social media users exchange personal information that's not necessarily kept private. Meanwhile, there are several newcomers to the social media industry who promise to never sell user data. So will these new social media platforms take users away from traditional social media sites? Well, we're joined by Mo Elzubeir. He is the founder and managing director of Mediasto, which is a media monitoring agency based here in Dubai. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. Now, tell us about the emerging social media platforms that do guarantee our privacy.
Well, thank you for having me. There are several social media platforms that are coming on now, and there's an increase in their numbers. And some of them try to mimic existing platforms like Facebook. Others try to mimic WhatsApp and existing platforms. And they do this with varying degrees of success. But ones that try to mimic things like Facebook ultimately fail, even if they offer privacy and features that Facebook doesn't have, because they don't have the population that Facebook has. And building that population is very, very difficult. But you have platforms like Snapchat that say everything is private. And saying everything is private is fine, but delivering on that promise is difficult. And for example, Snapchat got hacked, and users' pictures were released to the internet. That's not privacy.
So it's very difficult to build that huge user base that is required to maintain these social media sites.
It is the essence of having a social media platform. You need the people. I mean, that is your #1 asset.
So do you anticipate these new platforms overtaking traditional social media platforms, if we can call them traditional?
No, what you'll see is new platforms that are very specific, that target niches. They would actually take off. But ones that try to develop a monolithic type of approach will not succeed.
So tell us about some of these niche websites.
Well, you have, for example, now Twitter just acquired Periscope. And that allows you to stream videos and see it. And they think of it as see the world through someone else's eyes. See, that's very niche. And that's why it caught Twitter's attention, and they took it on. So sites like that and platforms like that are more likely to take off.
Now, what do big brands in social media do to really achieve their success and to avoid privacy criticism?
If you're referring to big brands that are providing social media platforms, what they do is they provide you tools to be able to control what people can see and what they cannot see. The trick with this is that it's very difficult to understand all the different features and what you can actually show people and what you can't, and that becomes very difficult. And that's why they face problems, criticisms, where they say it's too difficult to understand. People don't get it quite yet. And as you go on, you'll find it to get easier and a little easier as we kind of understand how people interact with it and what people can understand and what they cannot understand.
So what do you see as the future of social media?
I see more control. Now, a long time ago, we've had this notion that forget privacy, it's never going to happen. Now there's a trend where people are trying to kind of take control of that. So there is a trend where platforms are trying to cater to this requirement and this new need that people feel a little more urgently than they have in the past.
And is it actually possible to provide total privacy?
Well, that's a variable. Total is a completely different thing. It's kind of like saying, can I completely disconnect from the grid of electricity? You can, but it's very impractical.
Thanks very much for joining us tonight, founder and managing director of Mediasto, Mo Elzubeir.
Thank you.